So last week I started this little mini series where I told you I'm going to do a little bit of a look back to my favorite fragrances from 2022, letting you know kind of have they changed, have they matured, how's the performance like, are they still my favorite fragrances from 2022? I started with Most Wanted Parfum, which was my favorite fragrance of last year, and now I'm working my way into my favorite freshie of last year. Is it still great? We'll let you know. This is Lacoste Blanc Eau Fraiche. So without further ado, let's get it. What's good, my great smelling dudes? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Randy, aka Fragrance Dude. Thank you guys so much for joining me again. As always, you know, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell if you want my videos sooner, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. So again, I decided that I wanted to go and do a little look back. Now that we're getting to the end of 2023, and I had my video for my top 10 2023 releases, my final one that I released on Saturday, and I decided I was going to start looking back at some of my favorite fragrances from 2022. Because as you guys know, when you get a fragrance, a lot of times, especially a brand new release, I get it within the week of release. So a lot of times, they take time to mature. So they already macerated. There's maceration and maturity. Maceration usually occurs before they send the bottles out. Sometimes in the first month or so it will macerate, but for the most part you're looking at the maturity, and a lot of times it takes 6 months to a year to fully mature a fragrance, which is where they get their best performance, longevity, scent, all of that. Once the oils and all that are all blended, that's already macerated. With that said, I look back at Most Wanted Parfum, which again was my favorite designer release of last year. I'm a big fan of the Most Wanted, the original one, so it was a pretty easy call with that one. With that said, this one came really close to taking it down, and surprisingly, because you guys know I like my fall and winter rich style fragrances better than my freshies and blues. Even though there's a lot of really good freshies and blues out there, I usually lean towards fall and winter. This one almost took down Most Wanted Parfum as my favorite designer release of last year. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. This is Lacoste Blanc L1212 Blanc Eau Fraiche. So I always leave the L1212 part out because it's kind of like whatever. But this line is actually a really good cheapy line. And just an FYI, if you are interested in this fragrance, it disappeared for most of the summer into the fall. And it wasn't around anywhere. You couldn't really find it. And even though for a lot of people, this is not the right season for it, if you want to buy it just so you have it because it's getting harder to find, I will put the link in the description. It's $47 right now on FragranceNet. I don't know how long they'll be there. By the time I release this video, it might not be. With that said, Lacoste Blanc Eau Fraiche. What does it smell like? Well, they just came out with the new version, which is Lacoste Blanc Eau Intense, which doesn't smell anything like this. That is more kind of like an orange slushy that you mix together with almost this kind of turmeric, which is kind of like a sharper ginger, at least in my nose. It's a really good fragrance, but this one is a completely different level. If you want something like this, the only other fragrance I've ever smelled that smells like this is Givenchy Gentleman Only Casual Chic. Very similar, but it does its own thing. So this one, it revolves around this pickled ginger and citrus note. So pickled ginger is the things that you get on the side of sushi. I don't really like the smell of that, but with that said, the way that it's blended in here is absolutely fantastic. Super hyper realistic. This fragrance is almost like, and I've always said this, it's like you're walking through the woods on a spring windy day and you just have a bowl of lemons and bergamots and all kinds of different citruses all cut up, and you could smell them. And it's mixed together with that green airiness that you get from being in the woods on a windy day. It just kind of reminds me like that. So this does have like a clear effervescent woods, like a warm woods, almost like a blonde woods a little bit. But with that said, this revolves around citrus and ginger. And then it has this almost like effervescent ambroxan. With that said, this fragrance is a killer. Has it changed as far as like the performance and stuff? Not really. I haven't noticed much. With that said, it is it's been like 20 degrees outside lately, so I'm gonna wear that as my scent of the day, at least of the day, because it might get cold tonight and I won't be able to wear it because this is a spring and summer fragrance for sure. It has a green edge to the whole fragrance. So yes, there is a green tone to it, just like the color of the bottle. There is like a green edge around the whole fragrance, but this is not a green fragrance by any means. It's more, again, citrus, ginger, woods. That is what the fragrance is based completely around. It is very, very zesty citrus in the opening, mixed together with this effervescence that you get from this like ambroxany like woods. I think there might actually be ambrox in it. I haven't looked at the notes in a while. And then you get this, again, semi-sharp but a little bit watery ginger, like what you get from pickled ginger. Has almost this kind of like vinegary backbone, but with that said, it's not like harsh or anything. I hate the smell of vinegar. Okay, so stop confusing myself. Again, citruses, ginger, sharpness, effervescence, very, very beautiful. If you're looking for even more of a sharpness than this one, Lacoste Blanc Eau Intense, this is where that turmeric comes in and it has a little bit more of a sharpness to it, but this is more effervescent. It is green, it is woody, and again, it's like a green backbone. And then it's just very, very like watery and juicy and zesty and woody. That is what the fragrance is in a nutshell. It's almost, I said a million times, and I'll continue to say it for the rest of my life. This is one of the hardest fragrances to describe because there's a lot going on, but also at the same time, very minimalistic. And it's like, I don't know how to describe pickled ginger. It's like, so it's sharp, but at the same time, it's like watery, but it also has this almost like vinegary backbone, but it's really not any of those. I don't even know. So I could describe citruses all day long because this is like a citrus salad. It's legit, it's heavy on the lemon, very zesty. And then it has that effervescent woods. It's like a warm woods that you like, again, walking through the woods on a spring day. You get that kind of green leafage, but then you also have the woodiness to it. And then you get an airy backbone. This one is exactly like that, just with this added pickled ginger that I can't describe. As you get to the dry down, as that citrus starts to dissipate, it becomes more of an effervescent woody fragrance with a slight gingery backtone. That is what the rest of the fragrance is, and it is beautiful. And that green edge is there for the whole life of the fragrance. As far as the performance of it, this is going to be something that is going to last around 6 hours, maybe 7 at max. But for this type of fragrance, I'm surprised because this line, I mean, the Eau de Toilette lasted about 4. It's a beautiful fragrance, but it lasts about 4 or 5 hours. The Eau de Parfum, not as good as the Eau de Toilette as far as the scent, but it does last about 5 to 6 hours. Then you had the like the yellow and all them. They all kind of suck, so don't even look at those. And then you have, again, the Eau Intense, which actually lasts a little bit longer and projects better. This one hasn't really macerated. So this one is going to be, again, about 6 to 7 hours, as well as projecting above average for the first hour, but not heavy. It's kind of like what you would get with light blue Eau Intense. And after that first hour, it becomes more of a personal bubble for about 3 hours, and then it's a skin scent. So technically, if you're trying to get someone to notice you, they'll notice you for the first 4 hours. After that, it's more, they'd have to be hugging you to be able to notice it, but it is still there for the next like 2 to 3 hours as it completely dies down. But this fragrance is beautiful. One of the best freshies in my collection. As you can tell, I've used a lot of it. I would say it's probably top 2 freshies that I own as far as designers are concerned. If you haven't got a bottle of this, you need to. I mean, it is that good. And anybody that I've heard try this either loves it, like loves it, just like me, or they're just like, yeah, that's a good fragrance. I haven't heard anybody say they hate it, but hey, I mean, there's always going to be that few people, obviously. Yeah, try this out. Effervescent citrus, ginger, really nice, sexy, alluring, but at the same time, fresh, clean, inviting. It's going to be one of those fragrances, spring, summer, you can wear it to work, but I would think this is like kind of just an anytime warm weather fragrance. It even works in something like the 50 degree, 60 degree days, which is what it's like outside right now, but it works the best in 70 to 80. But yeah, that is Lacoste Blanc Eau Fraiche. Still the best fragrance as far as freshies are concerned of last year. I might move it up there with the most wanted parfum as last year's Best release. It is fantastic. So yeah, let me know what you think about it. I wanted to revisit that. I don't know what my next one is. I'm trying to think about it. Maybe Scandale Les Parfums, because that one was a really good release last year. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And again, I'll be back with another one. Peace out.